So as you know, I got a professional color analysis done about a year ago. I was given a really beautiful color palette that's perfectly customized to me and my individual coloring. And the way that personal color analysis works is you're looking at your individual makeup and finding colors that harmonize really well with that. So the idea is that if you wear those colors, you'll be able to feel really vibrant and very awake and really put together with very little effort. And I have found that to be very true. So I'm gonna link that video here for you if you haven't seen it, but today specifically, I wanna go over my makeup and how I've been able to use my analysis to influence my makeup choices and how I've been able to take a lot of the guesswork out of things and have a lot of fun and be able to figure things out that felt frustrating before. So I wanna go over things that I've tweaked, and not that there's anything wrong with how I was doing my makeup before, but what I've learned since my color analysis has given me a lot of freedom, and it's again taken the guesswork out of things because I'm not having to trial and error, but instead work within a framework that's very effortless. So let's get started. So the first thing I have to talk about is lip color, and for me this is something that was always very frustrating. It was an area that I felt I couldn't really navigate, and even though I would try things, they never really worked the way that I wanted them to. So if you're similar in my coloring, you might have really dark hair like I do, and your skin can change color a lot throughout the year. So if I'm not in the sun versus if I'm in the sun, I can be very light all the way to really tan. And that range is really influential when it comes to how my lip color comes across. So my natural lip color is also pretty pigmented. It's got a little bit of rosy colors in there, kind of purpley depending on if I'm pale or not. And then also it's got some color around the perimeter that's darker than what's on the interior of my lip. And that became really difficult for me to match because I would be given lip colors in really bad department store lighting, and then I would put them on in broad daylight and they just didn't feel right. They didn't give me the look that I wanted to. So since I got my personal color analysis, I've been able to use the colors that he dictates for my romantic colors and pull those rosy pink colors out and find perfect lip colors. They're exactly the effect that I want. They feel perfectly balanced. I can put those on and instantly everything comes to life, and I don't have to do anything else with my makeup. And it's given me such a beautiful color palette that I can turn to. So I can find a couple colors in different formulations and rotate those in and out, and I'm so happy with the result. It's given me exactly what I was always looking for, and now I know how to find it. Now, very similar to that is my cheek color, or the blush colors that I was choosing, and then eventually the bronzer colors that I was going for. So back when I first started doing makeup, my mom took me makeup shopping, and I'm very lucky that we have very similar coloring. So she gave me a couple blush colors that worked for her, and they worked really well for me, and I stuck to those. And I wore those, and I would always gravitate towards those really beautiful, kind of like almost coral or a little bit mauve-y pink colors, until I started working in beauty PR back when I was living in New York, and then YouTube became very popular, and those two things together created so much exposure to really beautiful products and beautiful makeup looks that I would see other people do, and then I would try to do them myself. And they were so fun to experiment with, but eventually choosing those colors that didn't work for me but worked for someone else became frustrating. And so I had a bunch of products that I would try to put on, and as I was maybe trying to get out the door quickly, I would then get frustrated and feel like I had to start over. So getting, again, that beautiful color palette has redirected me, and unsurprisingly brought me right back to those colors that my mom had recommended in the first place. And it feels very freeing to go back to those because they're colors that work well with me, and I've been able to appreciate colors that don't work for me on other people and see how beautifully they blend with their coloring. And it's given me a great deal of appreciation for the nuance of color theory. And then also, I've been reminded that you can't really gauge someone's individual coloring on a monitor or even product colors on a monitor. So when you're filming something on a camera, everything from where you're filming to the lighting setting, to the camera settings, to the editing settings, to how you're viewing that end result. So if you're watching on your phone or you're watching on your computer, all of those things change how colors come across. So when you're looking at something in a video somewhere, chances are that's not close to how it's going to look in real life. So all of that has been really clear for me as I've made my own videos and I've color edited and I've had to try different things and I've worn different colors on camera that when I go to edit, I'm like, oh my God, that is definitely not the right color for me. And it comes across as super orange or really muddy looking, or I just look kind of tired. And color theory has allowed me to find those colors that in natural daylight look great. And then with my camera settings set to where I film in natural daylight, everything comes across exactly as I want it to. So when I'm shopping for products now, I also try not to shop online unless it's something I've already bought in person, then I can rebuy it online. Otherwise, I shop in person. And I actually look at products in daylight and I compare them to the colors that I know work for me. Now, this very much applies to bronzer as well. And I think that going back to, again, when YouTube became really popular and all those beauty tutorials became really popular and we were exposed to so many creative looks, I think that also coincided with the rise in popularity of bronzer and certain brands like Nars coming out with their Laguna bronzer and the Benefit Hoola bronzer, and all of those becoming super popular. And a lot of the people that were creating these gorgeous looks really suited those colors, and that bronzy look that had the kind of that orangey yellowy undertone worked beautifully for them. So I tried to experiment with those myself, and rather than getting that gorgeous glowy look and all the sculpting that I was seeing, it made me feel a little bit opposite to that. So I was coming across as slightly muddied. It felt a little dirty from time to time. And then most importantly, it clashed with the other colors that I was wearing. So I would start to work my colors around the bronzer rather than just working what I have naturally on my face and finding colors that are going to blend really well with that. So it's fun from a creative standpoint, but frustrating from a get out the door fast perspective. So instead, through my color analysis, I've been able to find those bronzer colors with the perfect undertone that give me that perfect sculpted, glowy look. So the next thing I want to talk about is eyeshadow, and I'm sure most of you can relate. Sometimes I really love eyeshadow and sometimes I really don't. And that comes down to a couple different reasons. One, sometimes my brushes aren't clean or I don't have a good eyeshadow primer and I just don't want to be bothered. And then other times it's because I don't have colors that I feel work for me. So sometimes I'll put on an eyeshadow color and it feels like I'm sick or I've got allergies, or even worse, sometimes it looks like I've got a black and blue eye and the colors just are not working. They're clashing with the other colors in my makeup, they're clashing with my undertone, and they're making me feel separate from how I want to come across. So since getting my personal color analysis, I've been able to figure out a couple colors that work. They make me feel exactly how I want to. And I can pull on either a purpley color or a really beautiful charcoal color or a great taupey color and end up with a selection that works every single time. So I've been able to get that expression back and that creativity back, and I've been able to tap into different effects for different moods and different outfits. And that's so exciting for me personally because I really love makeup. I like the creativity behind it. I like being able to express myself through it, and I like being hands-on. I love that type of feeling, and it's a very therapeutic experience for me. So being able to build out a makeup collection that gives me exactly the look that I want has been so great for me personally. It's allowed me to rediscover that part of my personal style and the whole getting ready process that I really enjoy, and it's allowed me to tap into different emotions and be able to pull on different colors and different makeup looks for different outfits and different things that I'm doing. And I've been able to open my horizons a lot more rather than feeling restricted and as though I only have a couple things that I can do and everything else is off limits. So I hope that this is helpful for you. I'm gonna put colors down below if you're curious, but like I mentioned at the beginning, definitely check these in person, get samples, try them on natural daylight, and really play with them and work with them to make sure they're working for you, because things on camera can come across very differently in real life. And and being able to find your own personal nuance is such a beautiful experience and something that we should all try to aim for. And like always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Have a great day.